All right, next let's kick it down to Fayetteville with the Razorbacks. Again, we kind of previewed it on the last episode. Huge game with Mississippi State coming to town this weekend. But before we get to Sam Pittman's latest comments here, great news for the Razorbacks on the recruiting trail because four-star receiver Isaiah Sagnaw, I'm sure I butchered that name, right before I hopped on the show here, he commit to the Arkansas Razorbacks. Again, a four-star receiver, number one overall prospect from the state of Arkansas, had been committed to Oregon. I believe he was previously committed to Texas A&M as well. So huge pickup for the Razorbacks. Receiver, position of need with, Treylon Burks more than likely going off to the NFL. We've got some more comments on him in just a moment here. But, this is great. We're only 6 weeks away from the early signing period here, and the Razorbacks getting a nice boost on the recruiting trail, getting them another four-star prospect. A great day for Sam Pittman and company. But speaking of Sam Pittman, he has announced that looks like Dominique Johnson is going to start at running back now. Especially at running back, doesn't really matter. You could start the game and take one snap and then not see the field again. I certainly don't think that's going to be the case, because that's something that we've been hitting at. Dominique Johnson needs the ball more. That's something Sam Pittman's been saying time and time again. Certainly looks like they're going to try to get him the ball at least 15 times. And keep in mind, this is a guy that's only carried the ball 39 times this entire season. So that's something Sam Pittman hit on, as well as some really good comments here on Treylon Burks.
Coach, I know you've talked about Dominique Johnson getting more carries and more touches and stuff. He's obviously earned it. But do you have like a number in mind of how many carries you'd like, 15, 20?
Well, yeah, depending on how things are going, you'd like to. He's a big back. He's a guy that could wear you down. So I think that 15 range is probably about right, knowing that we have still three other backs, but he's earned the right to start for us, and we're anticipating him having another good game, even though we know how talented and how good Mississippi State's done this year against the run. But he's a big back that's proven himself, and he's earned it, and that's what we need to do with him. And I think that number of 15, probably closer to minimum than maximum, would be a good start for him.
Hey, Sam, you talked about Treylon Burks the other day, that he got a nice rest during the open date physically and looked pretty good the other day. How's he looked in practice this week, and do you get a sense he's really kind of refreshed physically?
I do. I mean, I think he's looked really good. We're still limiting some of his reps to this point. And he basically didn't do anything the week before. You talk about injuries, and sometimes I address them, sometimes I don't. There's a lot of different reasons for that, opponents. I don't want to hurt the kid in the draft. There's a lot of reasons that you don't comment on injuries. However, I think he's back healthy now and ready to go, and I think he'll be just fine.
And what have you thought of his season to date? And can he play better? I mean, is there anything more he can do this last few games he hadn't already done?
I think he can play better because we can get him the ball more. I think I don't know that he can play better than what he has with the limited amount of touches that he's had. I think we have to get the ball more to him and let him show his dynamic skills. And I think he needs to run the ball a little bit more than what he has, and we need to throw some screens to him a little bit more than what we have and things of that nature, because we know he can go down the field and catch a one-on-one contested ball. But there's easier ways to get him the ball than that, and we've got to find those ways, and I think we have those in for the game plan.
So reading between the lines here, I think it's safe to say this is the last 4 games we're going to see Treylon Burks, aside from the bowl, in an Arkansas uniform. And I don't think that's breaking news or anything, and I don't think Sam Pittman is necessarily trying to say that here, but I think he's already referencing NFL when talking about Burks. Burks is I mean, you got to think he's going to be a lock to be a first-round pick. He's been asked about the NFL already this season. I've seen at least once or twice. So, but I just think it's interesting that, Sam Pittman really wants to get him the ball more. And, of course, that's easier said than done. It's on Kendall Browse and KJ Jefferson to make it happen on the field. But it's almost like we got 4 more games here. This is your final opportunity to show the NFL what you can do, carry us to some of these victories. And again, we don't want to go too pass happy. That's something that I hit on the last episode. We want to run the ball with Dominique Johnson and A.J. Green and Treylon Smith, KJ Jefferson. We've got a stable of running backs here in Fayetteville. So it's not that they're going to go pass heavy, but when they do go to the air, they got to get it to Burks more because he's just dominant player. And they've rested him up for a couple weeks now. Now is his time to shine. They're going to need him against Mississippi State. They're going to need him against Alabama and LSU and Missouri. Go out there, put it on the tape, and prove your value to the next level. And I think that's kind of what Sam Pittman's hinting at here. But if that's the game plan, watch out. I think the Arkansas Razorbacks could end this season on an extremely high note.